Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics in the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. Spoilers!
Yeah, we're gonna start off with spoilers.
I'm saying this out the gate. You know why you're here. You know why we are here today. This is about Spider-Man No Way Home.
We're gonna spoil the bejesus out of this movie.
We are going to be talking all spoilers today. But we have heard of it. Shh. Don't look at the holes in my madness. It's fine.
That's our tagline. Shush.
It's like,
dude. All right. Again, we're gonna spoil the bejesus out of this movie. Okay.
You know the basics of who we are. You know, we're Comics in the Cross. I'm Cross. He's Nitro. You know what we do. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to be talking, not just reviewing this movie through like we usually do. We are going to basically be just going all over the map with this.
It's not going to be a linear review like we normally do at the beginning to the end of the movie.
Too much happens in this movie.
It's going to be a shotgun.
So like if you are here, we are assuming you have either seen the movie or are okay with spoilers. We are going to be going all in on spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. Flipping it, chat is going off.
Yeah, dude.
I love Seal. Oh, did they make a new Spider-Man movie?
Yo, get out.
Skeet Spot update.
Thank you for the host ads. Greatly appreciated, brother.
And is sharing it with their community.
Alright, before we get into the Spider-Man stuff, though, before we do that, I do have a couple of things I just want to mention. First of all is a massive thank you to everyone for the thoughts and prayers and everything you have been sending my family. My daughter is getting over the hump of the really bad part of COVID. She's starting to feel a bit better. My wife has been knocked out for almost like 2 days. Jay's been in bed, so we're on the fence if she's going to actually be streaming tomorrow night to try and finish up Bioshock 2 because we just don't know how she's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I've not taken a test officially, but I think I have it now because I'm dying. I'm dying a little bit today.
Yeah, just a heads up, everybody. Cross is feeling like absolute trash today, so the fact that he's on stream is incredible.
Look, you have no idea what I went through to make sure I could see this movie. I checked if I had symptoms. I was checking my temperature multiple times before leaving the house yesterday. I put on fresh clothes so I didn't have anything that was around people with COVID on it. I had double masks sitting in the cinema, making sure I was literally doing everything because at this point I was like,
He was wearing a hazmat suit. Let's be honest.
It's like because I'm vaccinated, I'm not currently showing any symptoms of it. I am doing whatever I can to do this.
Yes.
So the symptoms are now showing. So guess what? We are officially having a COVID Christmas because we're quarantined through Christmas now. Fantastic. So thank you though for everyone who's been showing us some support. Thank you for everyone who's been sending prayers. Glad the daughter's feeling better. Hope you and the wife feel better. Thanks, Ravenite. I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it so much. But yeah, so we're doing okay. We're going to get there. It's nothing majorly serious. Like I'm probably going to be knocked on my butt for the next couple of days, but that's probably about it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm very introverted. I don't like going places anyway, so being stuck in the house isn't a big deal.
You're not introverted.
You're lucky I have a camera. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? It's like I'm okay not going places for 10 days. I think I'll live.
Yeah, we'll live. We'll be good.
Also, as well, I wasn't going to do this today as well, but I wanted to do it, especially it being our last show, and I got another package like last night.
Nice.
A massive thank you to the members of the Comic Clan who have been sending me gifts. For anyone who doesn't know, on Co-op Trio, our friend Watson at Co-op Trio, excuse me, on his Discord, set up a page for Christmas wish lists, where you can post your Amazon wish list, and if people want to and are able to, they can go ahead and buy you stuff off of that wish list. So I put a list up there with the hopes of like, maybe I'll get something, not really expecting anything. I've got a freaking pile of stuff here now. I want to show this off what the Comic Clan got me. First of all, I want to show this piece.
Look at the haul. Dude, I gotta get my stuff too. Hold up.
I want to show this off. My Scarlet Spider that I got from Chunk the Hut. So massive thank you to him. There's only like 2 of these things I actually know who they're from. Only 2 of them actually had tags of who they were from. I'm waiting for Nitro to come back so I can ramble. Okay, help me. We need to make sure he's aware we have noticed the jammy bottoms. Are you wearing Christmas pajama pants?
I am wearing Christmas pajamas. Don't judge me.
Always.
Hey, we got less than a week to Christmas.
I said you just got up and I was talking to the people and then I noticed you walking across the screen. I went, wait a minute. No, I can't let that go. I can't let that one go.
Elk and Christmas trees on it. That's right.
So first of all, we got Scarlet Spider from Chunk the Hut, who, if you watched our favourite characters, one of my favourite characters of all time. He sent me that Funko Pop, which is cool. The only other one that I got that I know who it is from is actually my Christmas gift from Mr. Nitro himself, who sent me Witches from Scott Snyder and Jock. Which, if you've not heard me mention it before, we are 100% going to be doing this for our Halloween Indie Comic Book Club in 2022. Phenomenal book, freaking scary for a comic book, absolutely terrifying. But I got a couple of other things I want to show off as well, just how awesome. Where somebody sent me the Action Bible,
Nice.
which it was really amazing to get after having like actually talked with Sergio Cariello. I mean, come on, look at this artwork. Look at the artwork in here. Like, actually getting to go through it and see the artwork that this man put together. It's really not fair how talented some people are. It's really not. And then, one I showed off on stream before, someone sent me Volume 1 of Nightwing's original solo run.
Dude, that's sweet.
And then last night, there was a package just sitting on my doorstep. Someone sent me Volume 1 of Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin run.
Dude, that's sweet, man.
Which is, apparently is a Nightwing Christmas for me as well, because if anyone doesn't know, that run is actually when Bruce Wayne is dead and Dick Grayson takes over as Batman.
Is anybody ever really dead? Oh.
In Marvel and DC, no.
Alright, so I want to show off some of my swag, man.
Yeah, because you guys sent some stuff as well, so it's a massive thank you.
Yeah.
We want to show this stuff off
dude.
as a massive thank you. Because, like, apart from yourself, the comic you sent me, and apart from the pop from Chunk the Hut, I have no idea who sent me the rest of the stuff. They either didn't put a message on the gift tag, or they sent, like, a From Santa on it. So, like, I don't even know who I'm thanking, so a massive thank you to whoever sent that stuff.
So I think I know who sent this. I think Chunk sent this to me. Huge shout out to Chunk. I'm a huge fan of just, like, reference books for art. And I've been wanting to learn how to draw fantasy and sci-fi a little bit better.
That's a freaking sweet cover on that, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
it's huge. It's got really cool like references and stuff like that in the book. So.
Well, I guess we know what's going to be happening in Art of the Hero in 2022.
No, right? And then I got this one. And then I got this one, which this had been on my list for a while too.
Oh yes.
I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan and a huge Batman fan, so I'm excited to watch this. I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, man, huge kudos to Co-op Trio for setting that up, and big thanks to everybody who's been sending everybody gifts, man. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a cool idea, such an awesome thing for themselves. Massive thank you to Watson for running it almost like a kind of, Secret Santa, sort of thing. So thank you so much for that to Co-op Trio for it. And thank you for everyone who participated and sent. Like, I honestly wish I had the money to buy gifts back for everyone else on the list.
Yeah.
I legitimately wish I did. Like, we're broke. Even myself and Jay aren't buying each other Christmas gifts this year. We literally made sure we bought stuff for the kids. That's it. That's literally the Christmas gifts we got. So it's like, I wish I could reciprocate it, but you no idea how much we love each and every one of you. So a massive thank you for that.
Yeah.
One last thing, before we get into Spider-Man No Way Home talk, is that we are actually also doing a giveaway today.
What?
We are doing a massive giveaway. If you have been watching our panels, we've been doing a lot of close work with the guys over at Terminus Media. If you've been listening to the podcast or watching the podcast for any length of time, you've probably seen Dr. Baron Bell. He's been on the show a few times talking about Dominion. So Dominion, Fall of the House of Saul, Volume 1, is officially up for sale on either the Terminus Media website or on Amazon now. It's actually available on Amazon. You can go ahead and purchase it, but we have one copy of that to give away today that will be signed by Dr. Bell, and possibly as well I'm going to try and see if we can get Daniel to sign it as well, because Daniel's a co-writer on it. See if we can get them both to sign that off and send that to you. So we're going to get a special Christmas gift to someone in the comic clan, and this is going to be a special giveaway. This is 100% going to people who are subbed to the channel. People who are subbed currently, people who are financially supporting us and have been financially backing us. We wanted to give a big thank you with this one. I felt like it was just right to do it to the subs. So we're going to be doing the giveaway at the end of the show, so if you're not subbed and want to be in with a chance to win that giveaway, You can drop even the lowest level sub on there, and the $4.99 to win with a chance for winning, or heck, you can even sub if you've got Amazon Prime and don't use that Prime to sub for free to any other channel. Go ahead and use it and sub to us. Because think about that, you get a sub to our channel for absolutely free with Amazon Prime, and you get a chance to walk away with a $15, $16 worth of trade paperback comic book. That's how much it would be worth without it being signed, and it's going to be signed by the creators and the authors. Like, I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So I've got our decider wheel set up, with the subs and stuff on it, and their names. So we currently have 7 people on the list, because myself and Nitro obviously aren't eligible for it.
What?
Skeet Spot update.
There we go. Wolf Spider making sure he's part of it.
To the Stan Clan. Excelsior.
Thanks for the sub, homie.
Yeah, thank you so much for the sub, Wolf Spider. Welcome back into the Stan Clan, and we will of course add Wolf Spider to that wheel right now. Make sure I spell it right. Alright, Wolf Spider, you're on there. We now officially have 8 people on the wheel, and that'll you'll be available to sub and be added to that wheel throughout the show today. Your sub didn't alert for some reason?
What happened?
Apparently Red's saying like his alert didn't come up for his sub. Let me just check and see if it went through, Red. I don't know what's going on. Oh. Yeah, it's showing there's a 9 subs, so somebody else definitely subbed, so not sure why it didn't come up, Red, but let me go ahead and add you onto that, and I'll double check the list and make sure you're officially on there for the end. So Redbeard 9631. Alright, this competition's getting stiffer. We've got 9 people on there.
Do it.
But absolutely, if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, then go ahead and make sure you're subbed to the channel at some point today, and we will add you on to our wheel. Not worried about the alert, just making sure to be counted. No, absolutely, Red. Thank you for mentioning it to me, because it looks like it's showing up on Twitch, like in our analytics, but for some reason the alert didn't go off for it. Maybe you subbed at the same time as Spider, and like one overshadowed the other. But yes, thank you so much for both of you subbing to the channel, showing your support, joining the Stan Clan, and I'd love to say supporting us, but I know at this point you just want to win the book. I don't blame you, I'd be doing the same thing at this point. But thank you for everyone for the financial support you guys have given us. It's allowed us to expand and grow the channel and start to do some many awesome and amazing things. And we are now, this is it, you've had a little bit of time at the start here, but we are going full spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Full incredible spoilers. By the way, before we jump in, just one bit of news that I wanted to drop to the Comic Clan that I found out this morning is that I think it has been
Thank you for the Hero Stair seal.
Dude, it's so delayed on my end.
I was going to say that you're never going to get us both doing it because it only comes through my end. I need to find a way to get it set up so that comes through Discord so that you can get it at the same time as me.
It's all good. So, I think it's officially official. I don't know. That's probably not the right way to say
officially
it. But
official.
I think Deadpool will make his official MCU debut in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That dropped this morning. So we shall see. I think a lot of characters are going to show for the first time in that movie, including mutants.
I think we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that, because obviously they kind of hinted at the end of the movie and stuff with where that's going to go, and I think that's going to be a whole open world. But we're going to get into talking a little bit about that coming up. I need to use my 100,000 channel points somehow. Dang.
Spoilers, everybody.
So this is it.
Spoilers.
Last chance. Spoilers cast. We're talking full spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. And trust me, I'm saying this fully. I say this for everything that we review. But please, if you honestly don't want to be spoiled, go and see this for yourself. This movie is worth seeing without any of the spoilers being out there. I know the rumors, I know the leaks are out there, but
this is one of those movies where, please don't spoil it for yourself. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, and even if you're not that, you really don't care about spoilers that much, I'm telling you,
I seen
do
it
not
yesterday.
spoil it for yourself.
I seen it yesterday morning, and I managed to avoid spoilers apart from a couple of little stuff of people that were rumored.
Yep. Same.
But like, I pretty much didn't have any full spoilers of what was happening going into it, and it was so worth it.
All right,
It
so
blew me
again,
away.
spoilers, everybody. This is your last possible chance. If you do not want to listen to any spoilers for No Way Home, you need to leave right now, or just leave a lurk, but you can leave. All right, so we're gonna start off. Since you always start with me, Cross. Look, I'm gonna flip the table on you.
Oh,
Okay?
flipping at me the end of the year.
I just need to get your overall, just your gut feeling walking out of the theater for Spider-Man No Way Home.
I can tell you my feeling now. My gut feeling in leaving the theater, I think, was just. It was kind of more like shock and awe. Because, like, I think, honestly, it took me quite some time to, like, process everything that happens in this movie, because there's so much, and there's so many different angles, but, like, coming out of it and kind of having a feeling now of, like, that I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this movie.
Yeah.
I think this story was so well put together. The story was so well done. Tom Holland got to shine as Spider-Man in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we did get the other Spider-Men showing up. We got the villains who have been all over the trailers and stuff. And
William freaking
and,
Dafoe,
and they
man.
gave a phenomenal ending arc to the Sam Raimi trilogy and
Incredible.
to the amazing like duo of like the first and
Incredible.
second Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Toby and Andrew got amazing finales with them, as did the villains. They got amazing final shows out, and it's like it was so well done. The action was phenomenal. It was so emotional and heartbreaking. You felt for each and every one of these characters. Yeah, Ravenite, the fixing of all the villains, I love it because
Agreed.
I was kind of saying it to you, like the idea of fixing the villains, and that was what was driving him because of his Aunt May and pushing on that. Was like, we can't just send them back to die. There's a chance to make this better. We've got a second chance to make it right.
Yeah, I just like.
And it's like that's one of the most Peter Parker things ever.
Yeah.
Is like they still deserve a chance. And we even get to see that, obviously, because of like the final showdown with Goblin, who is like the big bad, which shout out to Willem Dafoe.
Dude, he murdered it. No pun intended, but he murdered it.
Willem Dafoe as the Goblin has not missed a beat in nearly 20 years.
Can we give it up for the scene, the first fight scene between him and Tom, where Tom is beating the absolute brakes off of him,
I know what
and he's
I know
laughing
exactly
maniacally in his face.
Can I just say the move in that one? That move, like the web up, kick him up, flip round, so he's on top, webs the ground, and pulls him through the ground.
Yes.
But like just for him to be up on the shoulders of like Green Goblin, smacking him, and he's got almost like a Joker maniacal laugh going on as he's being punched. Like he is like, you're beating the crap out of me, but I'm still in control of this situation.
He was legit terrifying. Terrifying in this movie.
And can I say as well, I love the changes. Like I love the fact that they smashed the mask and he ended up with like the purple hoodie that was kind of ripped and torn with the goggles. It was very more like trying to get more comic booky. I'm like, oh, Willem Dafoe as the ultimate villain for this, because the others like played their roles, but like he was the bad.
Yeah.
Because the rest all had
he was the bad guy. Yep.
He was the big bad, and we even got to see, like I was talking about, like the most Peter Parker thing of trying to save them. Like he gets confronted with that when he is in that final fight, because the Green Goblin, obviously, in that final fight ends up killing Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking like psyched you out for that moment. She got smacked with that glider, and then she stands up like it's nothing, and I thought, oh, I guess she survived that, and then collapses, and I'm like, and then as soon as she goes, oh, with great power comes great responsibility. First thing I thought was, oh, she's dead.
Oh, also one thing.
She said that.
When she said that, she said, "With great power, there also comes great responsibility," which is actually the original wording from Stan Lee from the actual comic back in the day. So I thought that was a really cool nod to that.
It was a really cool nod to that, but like that face off with Dafoe was amazing.
All right.
So let's try and segment this up. You're probably going to jump all over the place with this today because we are.
Well, let me
we
just
are 100%
get my
geeking
2
out.
cents.
Yeah, so let's.
We're gonna freaking geek out.
We're going to be all over the place. So what was your take on it? What was your take coming out of the
right.
cinema? What was your take coming out of that?
So just real quick, just some numbers so everybody just can understand the gravity of what this film has done. This film has made $253 million in its opening weekend, second only to Endgame and Infinity War. Not only that, and this is all time. This is all time. Not only that, it did it during a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I go to the theater. This is why I love and want to preserve the theater going experience for all time. For me, this movie is the best comic book movie I've ever seen in my life. Endgame for me was number one. Walking out of this movie, this dethroned it. And there's one main reason for that. So Endgame, like with all the action beats and all the payoffs, I think Endgame had way more payoffs, like holy crap moments in the theater, like Cap picking up Mjolnir and all that stuff. But I think for me, there was, spoilers for a 5-year-old movie. But I think there were some points in Endgame that dragged. Even if just slightly, I think they dragged. Which you need to, because there's a lot of exposition in that movie. I get it. This movie, it was tight. There was no wasted screen time. There was no wasted dialogue. There was no wasted action sequence. This movie was, I think, maybe not flawless, but close. There's so many payoffs, both the old Raimi and Webb universes, and I think there's a lot of vindication for Amazing Spider-Man specifically in this movie. Both Andrew Garfield and the villains. And in addition to that, I think it cemented how great the villains were from Tobey's Spider-Man. And, oh man, there was like a span of 30 minutes in this movie where I was grinning like an idiot. And I definitely teared up multiple times during this movie. My favorite part in the entire film had nothing to do with Tom or the current MCU, but when freaking Andrew Garfield...
Hey!
Right. We should do it.
We got a raid coming in.
Yeah. What's up, Stan?
Thank you so much. It's That Kid Rod. Thank you so much. Can we get a shout out for It's That Kid Rod? Thank you so much, Stan, coming in with your crew. Thank you for trusting us with your community.
What's up, everybody?
For anyone who does not know who we are Comics and the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. I am Cross, along with my co-host here, Nitro.
What's up, everybody?
We love to talk about comics, movies, TV shows, everything and all things geeky and pop culture. We are, of course, as you can probably see from the title, talking Spider-Man No Way Home today. We are full on spoilers today, so
we're going to spoil
this is your warning for anyone who's came in with the raid. If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home and you don't want any spoilers, this is your chance to duck out, to leave alert, to do whatever you want to do. Do not have this movie ruined for you. We are talking full spoilers, but if you're here and you know the movie, you've seen it, you want to talk about it and hear everything, we would love you to get in it. No problem at all, Stan. You got a bounce. I absolutely get it. Trust me, you rage. It's usually the time that you need to get off. You go, brother.
I get it, man. I get it. Alright, so again, just jumping in, full spoilers, just so everybody's on the same page for Spider-Man No Way Home. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so my favorite point in the entire film is when Zendaya falls off the Statue of Liberty and Andrew Garfield jumps after her. There's no hesitation in the time it takes for him to catch her. He immediately catches her, and when he lands, he just holds her.
Can we say as well though that like Tom Holland dives after her first? Like his Spider-Man dives first and gets caught. And as soon as Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man realizes that no one is going for her, that he's been caught, he doesn't hesitate to dive.
Update. A member of the comic club has been promoted to
when he catches Zendaya and he lands on the ground and he just holds her.
Hey, It's That Kid Rod has been gifted a sub from Locksteady. Thank you so much for that, Lock.
Thanks for the gift, bud.
Stan, I don't know if you are still in here, because I know you've ducked out because of spoilers and stuff, but now that you have been subbed to the channel with that gifted sub, you are now entered into our giveaway today for Dominion Fall of the House of Saul Volume 1, signed by the creators. So you have been added onto that wheel, Stan, so if you're still here, we'll be doing that drawing at the ending, and if you win, we'll reach out to you.
But yeah, when he lands and he's just holding Zendaya and he's sobbing, because he realizes that he was finally able to do what he was not able to do.
I was in tears as well at that point.
I was tearing up on that. I was like, yes, like they what's the word? They validated him. You know, they
he was vindicated. He was able to do that and save her life, and you could just see the overwhelming emotion in his face. Like basically since the moment that Amazing Spider-Man 2 ended till then, he has felt nothing but the weight of what happened to Gwen.
Yeah. And can I say, like, I knew Charlie Cox was going to be in here as Daredevil, and I knew Toby and Andrew were going to be in here as Spider-Man, but the weight of their cameos and the weight of what they did in the movie, not Charlie Cox, but he was just a cameo, but, you know, specifically Toby and Andrew, like, what they contributed to the movie was, there was no way I could have foreseen that. Even if I knew this was going in, there's no way I could have foreseen what happened.
They were like a third of the movie and were like a massive part of that final act. You know, it's like they were such a huge part of that.
All right, so let's go into a couple of, like, what were some of the big moments in this movie for you? Like, because I wrote down a list of notes where I was like, these were crazy moments that I can't believe they did, or that like huge impact on me, that type of stuff. So what were some of the ones like from your viewing?
Some of the ones that for me, like I think the first big one for me was Charlie Cox showing up, like showing up days after we got the reveal of Vincent D'Onofrio being back as Kingpin in the Hawkeye show.
Marvel fans have been eating good this week.
It has been a really good week to be a geek. It has been a really, really good week to be a geek this week. We got the official return of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, and Kevin Feige had announced that Charlie Cox was coming back as Daredevil.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I necessarily thought he was going to show up in this movie. I knew it was a possibility, but there's always a possibility of stuff like that.
He was playing it coy too. He's like, yeah, he's coming back. I just don't know when and where. I'm like, you jerk.
And then he just shows up as Peter Parker's lawyer.
Hey, can I say that was a bit of a throwaway cameo?
Yeah,
like, he was not referenced the entire remainder of the movie, which I'm okay with. As long as he's in the MCU, I don't give a rip.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing as well, though. It was done so well because he was a major part of that first segment, but the movie was very much cut up into segments. So if that first part was like, his name's out there, the police are checking in on him, people are split between who he is, and then like as soon as he goes to see Doctor Strange, it's like, okay, we hit that next part of the movie, and we went in a completely different direction. And the next part's the definitely hit for me. I think the villains obviously didn't hit as quite a big impact, just thinking of them since we were talking about it, because we knew they were coming. We knew they were all going to be there. That was all revealed. I think the next bit that really hit me massively was probably the death of Aunt May. Because I legit didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I legit didn't think they were going to do it. I knew they talked about like not doing the whole death of Uncle Ben and stuff like that. They weren't going to reference all of that.
Yeah.
I didn't see her death coming until that glider hit her. When that glider flew in the building and hit her, I thought, crap, she's dead.
Yeah.
And there was a moment I'm like, no, she's not, because she got up and they were talking and fine. And then when she collapsed, I was like, oh my goodness, this might be it.
And she's done. She's done.
And as soon as she said, with great power comes great responsibility, as soon as she referenced the line, it was like, yeah, she's dying here.
Yeah, she's done.
And I love the fact that they stayed with that as well, though. They stayed with the weight of that and they carried it. They allowed you to feel the darkness and the heaviness from that.
Yeah. Can I just say Tom's acting in that scene is just, it was incredible. It was incredible. I feel like a lot of times when characters are, you know, acting through a scene like that, it's like, okay, you can tell they're acting.
Oh yeah,
like I really felt like Tom just lost.
He just let his emotions hit. It was so good. Just want to reference Raven Knight's comment here saying Charlie Cox catching the brick and saying he caught it because I'm a really good lawyer was hilarious.
That was. Really
I popped so much. See when that brick came through the window and he just went boom and caught it. Right in front of
also, Tom's hand was right behind it, so he was getting ready to catch it.
Yeah, because he's obviously Spider-Man, so he could have caught that. And it's like, but there's that moment when he just kind of looks at him and he's like,
yeah.
It's like, what's your deal? And he's a really good lawyer. And it's like, it's just that's all we needed. Like, yeah, he's Daredevil. We just needed that reference. But the Aunt May death, and then obviously following the Aunt May death, the moments of like Andrew and Toby coming in. Because obviously, like, Ned gets the sling ring and is...
that was the biggest pop in my theater when Andrew popped through the portal. That was the biggest pop.
See, it was one of the second biggest to mine. Toby came through the portal right after him, and then he got a bigger pop than Andrew did. And I'm like... But like when he does a sling ring, there's that moment of you see him in the alley, you're thinking, because we've not seen Tom since the death. We've not seen Tom Holland's Spidey since the death, so we think this could be him. And then I think everybody in the theater has the same reaction of emotions.
They got really
in
quiet.
the same order. When there's like
head.
when you look at it and you're like, oh right, they found him, and he turns and
Yep.
looks and you're like,
Wait a minute.
I don't know if that's him. And then it hits you. Is it one of them? And then you see him running like, oh my goodness, I think it's one of them. And he comes through the portal and you can clearly see it's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume with the big spider emblem.
Yeah.
And everyone had that same reaction in the theater I was in. They went, and then everyone held their breath when they realised it was his costume.
Yes.
Until the mask came off, and because it was almost like for that, it was Schrodinger's cat at that point of like that. This is both Andrew Garfield and could possibly be anyone else. Until he takes the mask off and we officially see his face. And he took the mask off and everyone popped.
When they didn't believe it was him and made him hang from the ceiling.
It's like that, show you're him. Catch on. Crawl across
that cobweb.
Crawl across the ceiling. Like, I'm not crawling across the ceiling. Crawl across the ceiling. No, I'm not crawling. It throws more bread at him and it's like, so can you get that cobweb? Yeah, sure.
You're like, why did you do that?
And like, in the moment as well, like when he goes, okay, let's try again, see if we can get him. And everyone in the theater went, because they're all like, oh my goodness, it's going to be Toby this time. And Toby and the sling ring happens, the portal opens, and Toby just steps through in his cool youth pastor clothes.
That was such a cool line.
Right before the reveal, oh no way, Ravenite. Ravenite said my brother had to use the bathroom and went right before the reveal.
That sucks so bad, dude.
Oh,
I was like, I had been drinking water all that day on Friday, and I was like, I am not missing any of this movie.
Dude,
so I went to the bathroom like 4 times before. You know me, like I'm always going to the bathroom right before stream because I got to top off. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyways,
dude, I went to the bathroom beforehand, but I'm like, I'm going to sit here and pee this seat before my ass gets out of it to leave and miss anything. Like, no chance. I am missing anything in this movie. I am not getting my ass up. I will pay for a new seat. You are not moving me.
The interactions between Toby, Andrew, and Tom.
I
think they were worth the price of the movie.
I think that was the last big hit for me. Was like getting to see their interactions, like because there was multiple times of them interacting. Like, I want to take each of them as a beat as well. First of all, the scene where he's crying on the roof.
Dude.
And Mary Jane and Ned come and just hug him, and he just starts crying again.
They don't say anything. They just hug him.
And then they just go, there's people here for you to see. And can I just give a shout out to the freaking cinematographer for that comic book shot that goes up moon. And you just see the two of them standing in the shadow with the moon behind them.
Yes.
And then they both just jump down and just land in both Spider-Man poses, just looking at him. And there's that moment of like they all just know that they're all Peter Parker.
Yes.
And just the little by little of like that, he's so broken, and Amy even says to Andrew Garfield's like, don't tell me you know how I'm feeling. And then they start to tell their stories. And he realizes, actually, if there's anyone in this world right now that knows how I'm feeling, it's these two.
Yeah.
It's the Parker luck. It's the curse of Peter Parker to always suffer this. Hey Mountaineers, thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caleb, for coming in. But like this, that moment of realizing they do know what he feels through.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and you know, Andrew talks about the not being able to save Gwen and the rage that filled him. And Toby talks about the fact of like, you know, Uncle Ben dying, and he hunted the guy down and they wanted the guy dead, and the guy ended up dead. He got what he wanted, and it's like, but it didn't make anything better.
Yeah.
And then the solidifying moment of that scene when he goes with great power and Toby goes with great responsibility. And they all just look at each other and it's like, no, we know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just so amazing.
That whole rooftop scene. And, you know, they had a similar scene like that where they're all three kind of talking to each other, encouraging each other on top of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, this Statue of Liberty scene, like, can I talk a little bit about the lab scene?
Yes,
because you kind of missed that with stuff going on.
Yeah.
So the lab scene was just cool because pretty much the whole thing was the three of them all decided to start putting their heads together because they're all Peter Parker, so they are all geniuses.
Yeah.
And put it together of this is a way to cure them. And there's really cool moments, like, because Andrew basically takes a serum, they don't know what to do about Lizard, and he says, I can take care of that, I've cured Connors before.
Yeah.
And there was a really weird, awkward pause where they just kind of looked at him, and I really felt bad for Andrew in some moments, like, he really felt like the odd one out sometimes. They both just looked at him.
Update. A member of the
Hey, Redbeard, there's your subscription coming through.
There it is.
Well, it took about, 20 minutes for that to come through, but it came through. But yeah, there was that amazing moment of that, and there was an amazing kind of moment of Toby just talking to Tom as well. Like, he's like, I can work on this and I can cure Norman.
Yeah.
And you see, like, Tom looking at him, and he says, because we're going to cure them all. Because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And it's that moment of, like, why, like, try to remind them why he even did what he did, why he turned on Doctor Strange, he just wanted to send them back, why he wanted to cure them. Was because, and it's like deep down, like, that's just what Peter Parker does. They do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it was to give them a second chance, and maybe they would go back, and maybe they would screw it up, and maybe they would die. But he had to give them all the chance. Even Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Even Goblin deserved the chance. And then, of course, we get the moment of them talking on the Empire. I keep saying the Empire State Building. I don't know why. I think because it's in my head because Andrew Garfield was like, that was his spot to go and sit.
Yeah.
But on the Statue of Liberty. And do you want to talk a little bit about that then, since you did see it?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it kind of tied back to when they were on the rooftop. So when they first met Tom, there was that conversation between all of them about their shared experience and stuff like that, and just the way, because like I think everybody can agree that the Amazing Spider-Man was probably some of the worst Spider-Man movies that they've ever made. So like I feel like Andrew Garfield gets a really bad rap. He's not my favorite Spider-Man, but his rank definitely went up after this movie. But I think Toby was like, yeah, I fought an alien with black goo, and then Tom was like, yeah, I fought a purple alien, and then Andrew's like, you guys got me beat, man. I fought a guy in a mechanical rhino suit. And he was like just dogging himself. And then Toby, who like kind of plays this like older, wiser mentor role to Tom and Andrew, he's encouraged him. He's like, dude, you're amazing, man. You're awesome. And I feel like that was John Watts' way of saying, Andrew, you did awesome as Spider-Man. Like, yeah. You are an awesome Spider-Man. You are an awesome Peter Parker. And this is your vindication for what you did. We appreciate it.
Can we take a moment as well just to shout out Tobey Maguire's like older Peter Parker, who was very much like the cool youth pastor, who was very much like an old mentor to these guys. Like, he's clearly been through more than the two of them have. He's been doing this longer than the two of them. Yeah. But like, he just, so many words of encouragement, so many words of just building them up, of never feeling threatened, never feeling like his place was in jeopardy, just always wanting to encourage these other guys. And he was so awesome in that role.
He was amazing. And I guess going to the Statue of Liberty, somebody called it out where Tom was basically like, so they tried to attack all the villains the first time, and it didn't really work that well, and that's because Toby or Andrew have never fought like in a team before. And Tom's like, dude, I'm part of the Avengers. And the way that Toby reacts, he's like, that's so awesome. What is that?
It was 100% a dad reaction.
Yes, like he's so proud and he's trying to encourage him so much, but he has no idea.
He's no clue what it is.
And he's like, "Is that a band?
Are you in a band? That's so cool." No.
Just all of the interactions between all of the Spider-Man.
Can I share what Will Spider said as well? So do your webs come out of any other places? Because the two of them because Tom and Andrew are just enamored in the fact that Tobey Maguire's like Spider-Man can make his own webbing, like he's got organic webbing, which the two of them don't.
Think about breathing.
It's like that's like how do you make it and stuff? And like, just ask all these questions. Like, I don't. It just happens. Like, it's like breathing. I don't think.
Does it come out of other places? Dude, one time Toby hits Andrew in the face with the webbing at the end fight, and Andrew goes, "Gross."
Like, yeah, gross.
Oh man, but like the scene with them. So a couple of my favorite moments from the movie. So the two Spider-Man, Andrew and Toby on top of the roof, trying to encourage Tom, trying to talk him off the ledge. Literally, it was amazing. Frickin' Charlie Cox back as Daredevil was the greatest thing and it happened within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Like the shot where you're seeing them zoom in on the table with Tom and Zedenya and Aunt May and stuff like that, and you see the cane pop into the pic.
Yeah, you see the cane down, and it's like, you know whose cane that is. There's not even a question.
Dude, the fighting in this movie, the action scenes were absolutely brutal. There was 2 fight scenes with Tom and Goblin where they were literally beating the brakes off each other. And specifically at the end fight when they're fighting on the underside of Cap's shield at the Statue of Liberty, and Tom Holland picks Goblin up like a power bomb. He does a front flip.
That freaking spine buster. He picks him up and boom.
Dude, that was so good, man. And
the fight scenes were amazing in this movie.
So brutal.
The fights were so good.
Dude,
especially between Goblin and Spider-Man. And like, shout out, by the way, because I said it to you before stream, shout out to Willem Dafoe, by the way.
Dude.
66 years old, who said he would only come back to play Goblin if he could at least attempt his own stunts. And if he was physically able to do them, actually do them himself. So a lot of those stunts you see getting done is a 66-year-old Willem Dafoe kicking ass. It's like...
Dude, the scene in the apartment complex when they're in the hallway was incredibly brutal. Like when
I heard someone speaking of like Charlie Cox, actually, I heard someone referencing that it reminded them a lot of the Daredevil hallway fight from season 1 of Daredevil. Yeah, because it's so visceral and gritty and brutal.
And like it shows how much of a villain, like how much of a powerhouse the Goblin is. Like he's like extremely powerful, and he beats the crap out of Tom Holland.
I was so excited that Goblin got this vindication because so many people have dogged on Willem Dafoe's Goblin. I have always loved his Goblin. Even I'll admit it, even the costume, I have absolutely loved. Like he was always such an underrated villain as the years went on. And I'm so glad he got the chance to show that actually, out of all the villains, all the Spider-Men have faced, he might be the most ruthless, vicious, and just downright evil of any of them.
I feel like his helmet specifically, not his costume, but his helmet specifically, I feel like it's divisive at best. I feel like a lot more people don't like it than people who do like it. So I felt like when he was first introduced and he attacked him on the bridge and all that stuff, and then he's trying to stash his costume and he's having a conversation with the helmet, and he smashed the helmet. I felt like that was saying 2 things. That was one saying, we get it, you don't like the helmet. But that was another thing saying, even him, he's trying to smash the helmet, he's trying to do away with it. It's part of him. That Goblin is part of him. It's not the costume he puts on, it is him.
Yeah, it's part of him, and I will say I preferred his costume in this one. Like, see when all the stuff rips off, the other clothes rip off, and he's got the torn, like, purple hoodie. And he ends up with the goggles. Like, this was Willem Dafoe at one of his best. I cannot compliment this man of taking up... And do you know what the funny thing is? He is in not that many scenes of this movie. He does not appear that often, yet he is fully felt. Like, when he first... So part of the film is him. He goes to Feast, which is the organization that feeds the homeless and houses the homeless. It's in the PlayStation game. It's part of the comics as well. But he goes to Feast. He meets Aunt May. She's sitting down with him. She gives him some coffee or whatever. And Tom Holland shows up, and he's in his "I'm Norman Osborn. I have no idea what's going on. I need you to help me," like, phase, right? And at first you're like, okay, he's just playing with them. Like, there's no way he's not the Goblin right now. But then, like, he keeps conversing, and you're like, okay, maybe like he did turn. Like, maybe he is just Norman Osborn. He freaking fooled me, man. And like he used that ruse to his advantage. See, that's the thing. I don't think it was a ruse. I think he was literally Norman up to that point, because he said he's been looking behind Norman's eyes when he turns later. I think Norman came through, and you can see the moment he definitely switches, but keeps up the ruse, because I think, credit to Willem Dafoe, I don't think he ever got enough for the first Spider-Man movie, is the 2 different roles that he can play of Norman and the Goblin, because they are completely different. Yeah. Because he plays Norman so well in this, and almost becomes like a mentor. Yeah. To like Tom a little bit, and helping him, trying to help the other villains. He helps him create the thing that helps like put the chip back on the back of Otto's neck, so that Doc Ock.
When they're working on that. Yeah, when they're working on the Doc Ock thing, and like Norman looks at him like, dude, you're really good.
Yeah, it's like he says that, like, if you ever want to, like,
there is a new member.
Hey, Devil Slayer, thank you so much for coming in with the follow. Welcome to the Comic Clan. If you're hanging out, just FYI, in case you've not been listening it yet, we are doing full spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, so if you don't want to be spoiled on it, we absolutely do not mind if you need to duck out, absolutely understand 100%, but would love you to be part of the conversation if you have seen it and want to be involved. But thank you so much for the follow, we greatly appreciate it. But yeah, the moments like when he said, like, if you want a job, you can like jump the multiverse and feel like, jump in universes, and like you can come work at Oscorp. Yeah. But like he's so good, and then there's that moment when, Otto's saved, Doc Ock's been back in control of his arms, and he says to him about being whole again and getting rid of his darker half. And there's that moment where there's tension at the back of his head when you kind of go, uh-oh.
Yes.
And then, but at that moment, it's a ruse, I think, because he turns around and he's acting completely calm and completely like Norman. Yeah. All the way up until Peter's spider sense kicks in, which was really well done, I think.
I love the way that he does that too. The way that they did that spider sense, because it was very eerie, like you said, and he was just walking around the apartment like something is not right.
And they also try to throw you as well, because at that same time, J. Jonah Jameson shows up and is trying to break into the building to like get stuff on him. So it almost throws you off, like that's what he senses, and something big's about to happen. And then out of nowhere, webs Goblin. Yeah. And just like that, the facade drops.
Yeah.
And Goblin's back, and he is freaking terrifying as a villain.
So, William Dafoe knocked it out of the park with this movie. Probably one of the better parts of the movie, I think.
Sorry, I just seen Ravenite's comment.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious.
When Aunt May asked Doc Ock if he drinks salt water or fresh water because, you're an octopus, and he goes, what? Fresh water it is.
So a couple more things for me that really stood out. Again, the biggest pop in the theater that I was in was when, Ned did the sling ring, and we saw the Spider-Man, and he was very shadowed. Like you could only see like a silhouette in the eyes, and when he opened it up, he goes, "That's him, that's him," and then you saw the Spider-Man kind of tilt his head and like look like that, and he looked a little bit taller than Tom. The eyes were a little bit wider and a little bit whiter, and you're like, no, that's not Tom. And then, like you said, he started running towards this thing, and he popped out. And the theater, like, the roof, like, crumbled. It was crazy. And, like, for me, I think Andrew... I honestly think Andrew almost stole this movie. I feel like, for me, I liked Andrew Garfield in this film better than I did in his previous two. I feel the same for William Dafoe as well. Like, the ratings for the Spider-Man for me are very, very close. I think Tom cemented a legacy for him in this film with his 3-movie arc, and what he did at the end of the movie, like you said before the stream cross. I feel like he cemented 100%. His legacy as the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man on live action done.
I think you have to, because if you look at Tobey, he's pretty much the same through the first 2 movies for the most part. Third movie, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, like Andrew's pretty much the same throughout them. Within this, we literally have the growth of Peter Parker, teenage kid going to high school, to starting to grow up, starting to get the role of an Avenger, going through all the Infinity Wars, all these experiences, to here at No Way Home, where he's now an adult, he's about to go off to college, he is a full-blown young adult, is no longer a kid. And throughout that, you see the character growth and development. Like, this is not the Peter Parker that shows up in Homecoming. This is not the same person. It's like, you can see the growth, but it's like, it's not like they threw it away either. It was a progression to this point, to which I don't know if we want to go into it now, but the very ending of the movie, like I said to you, the big finale for it.
Yeah.
He solidifies himself by doing what I honestly feel is the most Peter Parker thing that any of the Spider-Man actors have ever done in the role. Which, when Strange tries to like keep the spell under wraps, it's been released, they're all starting to come through. It's starting to build through everyone that knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man from every multiverse. And it's even his idea, like, the spell can't be contained. He says, well, what if you cast a new spell? A spell to make everyone forget who Peter Parker is. And he's like, it's going to be just about, like, you were never born. You're going to be a no one, a shadow. And he thinks for a moment. And he realises that it's the only way. And having already gone through so much and lost so much, decides that's the only way to go.
Yeah.
and then and the spell is cast, which is like that's the thing. Like it's not just like he loses connections. We see him like speaking to Happy at Aunt May's grave and stuff, but like he loses MJ, he loses his friendship with Ned, he loses his connection to the Avengers. Doctor Strange even says goodbye to him because like he says, I won't know who you are.
Yeah.
He loses all of that. He loses everything that's happened and he becomes a no one. Like Spider-Man's still a thing, people still know Spider-Man, but nobody knows Peter Parker.
And to that point, like regarding Doctor Strange, because we really haven't talked about him at all. Like,
no, that's a whole part of this movie into himself.
Towards the beginning of the film, like there's this like kind of antagonistic relationship between Doctor Strange and Tom. Like Tom comes across as a little annoying to Doctor Strange, and there's this kind of like older mentor, like dude, shut up type thing going on. Yeah. And then they actually fight. Like they actually kind of fight in the film, and that kind of whole arc in the movie ends up with him at the end of the movie on top of the Statue of Liberty, getting ready to cast a spell, and he goes, "But we are going to forget who you are." And like when he said that, I was like, "Dude, he really cares about this dude. He really cares about Peter."
Yeah, because he's talking about like all the people who love you are going to forget you. It's like, and he basically says, like, "I'm going to forget you," and like encounters himself in that. And just even like we've had the back and forth throughout the movie as well. When he said, "We've been through a lot. Call me, you don't need to call me sir." And he says, "Okay, Stephen." Like, it's a little strange, but I'll allow it. But then obviously like the spell goes wrong, and like he's furious at him because like he changes the spell like 5 times during the casting, and like Strange tries to keep up with him, and that's what makes things go crazy. Yeah, and it's like, and he says, "But Stephen is like, call me sir," and he's like that mad. But then you also get that relationship building as well when he's like, I sometimes forget you're just a kid. Like I forget just how young you are with everything that we've been through and what you've got on your shoulders. And then at that very end when he's stepping down and he says to him, "Call me Stephen." And it's like you could feel the emotion of what he was doing. Yeah. But like that was something that I kind of realized with Spider-Man a long time ago. Like, was that it doesn't matter what the cost is to him. Peter Parker always will do what the right thing is, regardless of what it costs him. Yeah. He will always sacrifice to do the right thing. And that's what makes him one of the greatest heroes ever. Yep. Because literally he never falters from that. He has some missteps, he makes mistakes, he gets things wrong, but he will always try to do the right thing for the greater good. Yeah. And it's a phenomenal thing that I think they totally encaptured with that. And then we also get a kind of like, I felt like it was almost like a throwback to like Tobey Maguire at the end of Spider-Man 1 when he goes in to see MJ and who doesn't know who he is, and there's almost that moment of like he wants to start telling her and he's like rehearsing going in. Yeah. And then he just sees the cut she got in her head.
That was so sad, dude.
And it's at that moment he realizes, if I bring her back into this, then she's just going to get hurt again. Yeah. And he walks away and he chooses to self-sacrifice for her good, because he hears like them finally getting into MIT, because that was the whole thing when he was Spider-Man, and their connection to him, they couldn't get into MIT and all this stuff. Yeah. But he hears that they're both getting what he wanted them to get.
I was watching somebody kind of review Spider-Man with the Easter eggs and stuff. New Rockstars, if you're not a fan, you should probably follow them on YouTube. They're amazing. Eric Voss, shout out. He was basically saying that like the Black Dahlia necklace is like a through line in several of the movies. Like it gets broken in what's the not Homecoming.
Far From Home?
Far From Home, that's it. So it gets broken in Far From Home. But at the end of the movie, even though she doesn't know Peter Parker, like something compels her to wear that. Like she's still wearing it when she's working. Yeah. So I just thought that was a really, really cool touch.
Like it's still in the mind somewhere, and I'm like, the only thing that I felt with that though, although that's one of the most Peter Parker things ever, like I 100% still feel like he could go to Baker Street and go see Doctor Strange and explain what happened.
Yeah, I agree.
And like Doctor Strange would understand and go, "Oh crap, it was a spell." Okay. Yeah. Like I fully believe, like if there's anyone that's going to believe that crap that just happened, like surely it's Strange. Yeah. Like Doctor Strange would surely believe that. It's like you're not totally alone, and obviously it's not going to last forever. But the intriguing thing is like how that's going to affect going forward.
Well, they pointed out in the same video that I was watching that Peter changes the spell 5 times while Doctor Strange is trying to cast it, but Doctor Strange says you changed it 6 times. So because Peter had said 5 different times, no, this person, no, this person, no, everybody that knew that I was Peter Parker should still know. And people are saying maybe that 6th time was him basically stopping everybody or stopping that. So
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
And that's saying as well, it's like if everyone forgets Peter, does that mean they forget the things that they did with him, like Ned doing the magic and stuff like that? Or like, I think it's going to have a factor on it. I think it's going to be like there's probably going to be a workaround that the magic does a certain thing to them.
Somebody explained it like
gaps, but
somebody explained it like when Hermione, for Harry Potter fans, when Hermione erased the memory of her from her parents, and it basically erased all of her from all the pictures and everything like
it just
that.
creates
So
a new
basically
reality for them.
Yeah, basically a new reality. That's a good way to put it.
But with this spell on Strange's level, like it's the world.
Yeah.
Has forgotten Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting.
Raven Knight called out.
Yeah, I was literally about to say Raven Knight's comment there. Go for it.
Yeah. So Raven Knight. So Wong was named the Sorcerer Supreme because Strange was blipped for 5 years. Yeah, that was a really cool touch.
I didn't even think about that, but like, yeah, that kind of makes sense actually.
Yeah.
That Wong would be given that because like you don't know Strange is coming back, so you can't just like wait on him.
Yeah. Another. So one or two more things for me from the movie. So again, I know I go back to this, but I think my favorite scene of the whole movie, which there's a lot of them, but I think this is my favorite scene, is when Andrew catches Zedenya.
Really, you've not mentioned it yet.
Oh, I know, but I'm gonna mention it again just to be sure. But like he's flying through the air, he catches her immediately. There's no hesitation. He lands and he's just sobbing. Like he just holds her, and she's looking at him like he's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's sobbing and he's looking at her and like you can tell he's just like, I did it. Like I saved her. Like I was finally able to do that. Man, that was like I was definitely tearing up during that.
Talking about that end scene, actually, can I talk about like the final fight with Goblin and stuff, and when Toby steps in? Because everyone starts to get cured, which shout out to Doc Ock, by the way. He takes out after the whole apartment complex is destroyed because people are going after him. But he shows up at the Statue of Liberty to help fight with the Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which can I shout that scene out as well when he gets to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And you just get reminded of that friendship that they had before he had like went evil, and get to see that like to fruition. Like he's got to see Peter grow up. There's an honest love and connection between the two of them, and it's like I loved seeing that again.
And that's one of the things that made him such a compelling villain in the second Spider-Man film. Yeah, there was an actual connection between them two.
Alfred Molina is 100% a dark horse of just how good he is in this movie as well.
So
like,
good, man.
Like Willem Dafoe like steps up, but like Alfred Molina has always been top class. The guy's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But they start to cure everything, which massive shout out when they cure Flint Marko and Lizard. We actually get to see the actors who I wasn't sure if they'd gotten the actors back.
I know.
Because from the very get go, all you do is see the CGI version of them.
Yeah.
But they get them back, which is like really cool. But they cure everyone, and it comes down to a fight with Goblin, and it comes down to Tom Holland basically beating the crap out of Goblin on the fallen shield that was getting added to the Statue of Liberty. And the two of them just start laying into each other.
When he power bombs him on this shield, the whole theater was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, like he flips round, grabs the back of his pants, and like when his feet hit, lifts him up, boom, on the back of his neck, and like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead.
And then punching the brake.
And that moment when he goes to finish him off, he like picks up the glider and goes to like ram it through him, and Toby comes in and catches it.
And I knew what was going to happen.
And it was like,
I knew what was going to happen.
And then if he gets stabbed, like I'm glad they didn't do what I thought had happened at first. I went, crap, did they just kill Tobey Maguire?
Dude, if they killed him, I would have been pissed.
Like I legitimately thought they'd killed him, and then like he gets picked up later, and it's like, okay, he's all right, he's just hurt, because like he kind of brushes it off.
I've been stabbed before.
It's okay, I've been stabbed before. And I love it. I love the group hug though. After when they do the big group hug and he goes away, and Andrew kind of turns to him, and he's holding him up, and says, "You're in pain, aren't you?" He's like, "You're really hurting, aren't you?" Yeah.
Dude, the scene where him and Andrew are limbering up, he's like bending over the thing.
Oh, with their
like,
backs.
I got a tight back, and he's
I got
like,
a thing in my
"You want me
back.
to crack it?"
You got a thing in my back, like right here, and it's like, yeah. And it's kind of going,
like, "You want me to crack it?" And they do the infamous,
Yeah, they cross arms and crack it over. It's like, oh, that feels good. Feel nice and loose now.
Oh my gosh.
They're just. The interaction with the Spider-Man has to be the best thing in this movie because it's like geeks hanging out together, just talking about stuff, just like randomly spouting stuff. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
And it's a really good juxtaposition to all the action going on. But I love that end scene, like he gets taken out and Tom like cures Goblin. And there's that moment of there's that almost sad moment as well of like when Norman comes back, and he's like, "What have I done?
What did I do?
So
Yeah.
what did I do? I don't even know what I've done." And there's that moment as well of like, you don't know if you can trust. Has it actually cured him, or is it Goblin messing again?
Yeah.
Mixed in with the fact that Tom Holland is still feeling all that anger and rage, and it's like so almost impossible to not aim it at him.
Yeah.
Because it was him, although it wasn't. And it's
Yeah.
like that whole final thing was like phenomenal, and then it was so good on so many levels. All the stuff that they did in this.
Raven Knight said that the three web slinging together after they talk about how to be a team was epic. That scene legit gave me chills when they were all swinging together. And like, somebody had pointed out that each of them had a unique web slinging style from their movies, and they kept it for this film, which I thought was a really cool nod.
And you could see them swinging together all differently, but all in unison. It was good.
And that scene where all three of them attacked, it was Lizard, Sandman, and Electro at the same time. Oh man, that was so sweet.
that scene which we all knew was coming when they dove at the three of them, and it's like it's the three Spider-Men, and like, I'm sorry, can I just count now? I think it's Andrew that hits him, but like where that cuts off in the trailer, the very next moment, the hook that Andrew gives Lizard, like I thought he knocked him out with the Lizard, like folds in midair. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, he kicked him right in the face, man.
Oh, but that's what I want to speak about actually with villains, since we're talking about them. Let's talk about Electro. We've not mentioned Electro yet.
Yes.
Electro was a really interesting story arc in this. He wasn't the major villain, but he was a major antagonist though.
Can we talk about the one scene where they introduce him and he's not wearing anything, and he goes, "Y'all not going to talk about how butt ass naked?"
Nope.
That was so funny, dude.
I just love that scene. I was like, we're not going to talk about that? No. Nope.
Oh my god. But yeah, his suit, I agree. The suit Raven Knight was such a great improvement from the previous one. They didn't really explain why he's not blue anymore, which I don't really care about, honestly.
Just something about they kind of mentioned it, like it's just a different energy that's in this world.
Yeah, because he had like a yellow energy as opposed to a blue energy in his world. So.
And shout out to Chunk the Hut. We did mention that, we were talking about that earlier about the obsession with the organic webbing. We talked about that at the start. That was funny. But like Electro obviously coming in, and again I love the fact of like the Strange gets in this thing to catch these guys and like lock them up in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and he shoots Electro and it goes right through. But first it shoots a tree, and then Zendaya and like Ned just get the crap scared out of them. But this tree just appearing in one of them, it's like, so is this like a tree ban or something? Like later on, he's like that. Is it a tree man or something? Electro goes, "It's just a tree, dude. Just a tree." Hey, Human Mattel, thank you so much for popping in. Yeah, it's been going really good. We're just doing a lot of fun, just talking about our favorite bits of the movie. And honestly,
he was surprisingly funny in this. Like way funnier than I thought he was going to be.
It was a good.
It didn't take away from the movie, though. It didn't take away from the movie.
It was a good middle ground for the character. Like it was a very middle ground between. Like how Max is at the start of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and between how angry and aggressive Electro is. It's kind of it's kind of a middle ground of that, of like a bit more chilled, laid back, but confident and cocky as well a little bit.
Can we give a little shout out to the interaction between him and Andrew Garfield after he cures him, and they're basically like bonding, like, you know, you're not a bad dude, man.
That was so good, like, because
that was so good.
It's like you felt that from him, because like
they knew each other.
Garfield never felt that about him. He never felt he was a bad guy. He even says it earlier. He actually says it during the scene in the lab. He goes to him like Max he was literally the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
He was just such a good guy. And like to see him like this, and it's like, and Electro's interested in this because he doesn't want to cause chaos and destruction on the level of like Goblin.
Yeah.
But he's also not trying to get home like a lot of the other villains. Like, he doesn't want to go home. He doesn't want to go back. He likes the feeling here. He likes the energy he can tap into.
Yeah.
And then when they're in Happy's house, like, opens up that thing to like scan them to help make the antidotes, and he senses the arc reactor and steals it, and it just supercharges him. It was so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was such a cool villain.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought the callback to his like OG comic book suit when he was floating in the air at the end of the movie, and they did the lightning. You know how he has the lightning mask in the old school.
That was really cool that it was done with
That
the
was-
electricity. That was
That was so
sweet.
cool, man.
That
I
was
thought that was such a
so
cool
good.
moment. Yeah. Yeah, I loved his outfit, man. I thought his outfit was sweet. I thought the outfits in this for the villains were amazing. Like, they kind of carried Doc Ock from the previous movie, but William Dafoe's Green Goblin, when he had the purple hood on and he had the green tattered robe with the armor, man, it looks so
The
sweet.
costume updates were phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Chunk saying, I love the line between Flint and Max, so you got to be careful
Yeah.
where you fall. But the two of them were
was
talking
pretty
about how they got their powers. Can I say
So
as well?
what-
Can I say as well though? Like, I was so disappointed with what they did with Sandman in this.
I know. That's what I was
He
going to
was
say.
just
The only,
he was just thrown in there, and like even his
Yeah.
motivation didn't make sense.
one of the only
Because like, all the rest
negative,
of them were brought in because Spider-Man kills them in their universe, and it's like I get they're bringing in people that know him, but it's like literally the thing for the rest of them was all like, well, Spider-Man ends up killing them.
yeah.
Flint
Yeah,
doesn't,
that's one of-
Flint
that's-
doesn't die at the hands of Marco. Part of me wonders if they were meant to get Topher Grace
I don't know.
and
I mean,
couldn't get
that's-
him because in Spider-Man 3 Venom dies, like Topher Grace dies while fighting him,
Yeah.
but like Flint just like blows away in the wind. He's not actually dead. And
I
then
agree
even
with
like
you
the
on
whole
that.
thing was like he wants to go back to his universe and see his daughter. So
Yeah.
why? So of course he's going to go and help her because he wants to get back home. But then it's like, and get the cure so I can get back home and see my daughter. And then it's like, but then he goes and he leaves with the villains and he causes trouble and attacks Spider-Man and fights them.
Yeah, yeah, it does. That was one of the main negatives that I had with the movie. One of the only negatives is like I think for both Sandman and Lizard, there wasn't really anything done with them. Like I think they could have not been in the movie, like Humor said, Cameron did, and it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah,
like, I think that was
absolutely.
I don't think they added anything to the movie.
Because Lizard's even a thing of like Lizard like doesn't even go into the apartment with him. He hides outside. You know, probably a CGI
Yeah.
budget in that one.
Yeah,
but
that
he
was
goes
definitely
outside and
a
then
budget cut.
it's like, and then the fighting all starts, and he crawls up and it says, and basically like a careful what you wish for or reap what you're going to sow sort of thing to him.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, but like you just turned, you wanted to come and get the cure and go home as well. He was trying to send you home. There's Goblin turning makes sense. Electro turning makes sense.
Mhm.
Doc Ock doesn't turn because he's now good.
yeah.
But, like,
Which I love that they carried that. I carried that over from the second Spider-Man movie. I love that.
Like, but then like Sandman and Lizard were literally just there. Like even during the fight, like do you notice how quickly they like gave them their cures and they turned back to human, and then we just forgot they were there.
Yeah,
To the point of like I wondered what had happened to Flint because literally right after like because they fill up the Statue of Liberty with sand, he's trying to choke out Spider-Man, gives him the cure, heals him, turns him back to normal. Literally right after that, something smashes into the top of the Statue of Liberty, right where they were. But then at the end, when they're all getting sent home, Flint Marco's still up there. And I'm like, you just forgot he was up there during that scene. That would have killed him. He was a normal man. He wasn't sand anymore.
yeah.
I'm like, that would have killed him. I'm like, no, he's just still sitting up at the top of the Statue of Liberty. And I'm like, and
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really add anything to the movie. There was that really cool sequence with Lizard when he escaped through the sling ring portal and he chased Zazenia and Ned. I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, again, like Cameron said, I think they could have not been in the movie and it would have been fine. One thing I did want to say, so when Doctor Strange is on top of the Statue of Liberty and he's trying to do that spell and a reality is broken. Okay, so all right, sorry, my brain is all over the place. So Goblin manages to throw one of his pumpkin bombs in the device where Strange is keeping that miscast spell that he did at the beginning part of the movie. So Strange has this box which is encapsulating this spell, which if it got out will break reality. So he has it in there. Goblin manages to get a pumpkin bomb in there. It
Hobgoblin,
explodes.
what movie you watching? You're just adding characters now.
So it explodes, fabric starts to rip, and there's a couple like really brief maybe cameos, I don't know, but you definitely see Rhino, like OG Rhino.
Yeah.
I think you definitely see Kraven the Hunter as well. I think those are two. There's a guy with the fur thing on with a spear, and then there's a guy with a huge dude with a horn on his head. So like, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. It kind of reminded me of what is the thing from X-Men? Xavier Cerebro, when he's like trying to find the mutants and you see all those disembodied spirits or whatnot. That's what it reminded me of. So, anyways.
No, absolutely. I think there's definitely little cameos in there. It's one of those scenes that when I get the Blu-ray, I'm definitely going to be pausing
Dude, I
and
can't wait for that.
looking at all the characters to see who I can spot and who are like little Easter eggs in there.
Yeah.
But like it was so good, and
Shout out to the new suit at the end of the movie,
mm-hmm.
dude. Like that classic, like royal blue, shiny royal
Very
blue.
classic Spider-Man look. I love it. It's
Heck
probably
yeah,
one of my
dude.
favorite ones. It was so
They s-
nice.
They still haven't explained how like a 20-year-old knows how to sew a costume, but whatever.
What is it? Like necessity is the mother of invention. It's like you
I
need to learn
guess.
how to snow. You need to learn how to sew. Like I mean, he probably didn't know how to do laundry as well until he became Spider-Man and realized he had to clean the suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
It's
only-
like
The only other thing I will say, so like a negative for me is Sandman and Lizard. I feel like they weren't that great, and to kind of like to continue with that, if I'm being really picky, I think some of the CGI for both of them was a bit off. I don't feel like they just
it wasn't
they just
the,
didn't
it wasn't the best.
it just didn't spend a lot of time on them and with them. And again, I think they could have just been taken out of the movie and spent the money that you did on two of them and just bring one villain in and make them a little bit better.
Yeah.
But
No, absolutely, and I think that's it. I think that's it. Though we know where the main budget for everything went. It's like it's clearly, it wasn't meant
clearly
to be.
Toby and Andrew.
It clearly wasn't into the two of them, and it's like, and that's okay. It's like there's so many characters in this, and it's like
It didn't take away from the movie. Like it didn't make the movie bad.
yeah,
Those are just negatives, I think.
no, absolutely, and I think that's it. It didn't take away from it, but it's like it didn't add to it either. It wasn't like a thing where it was going to add to it and it's going to make it like, it doesn't benefit the movie in any way. It just kind of is a thing that's there. Like, they're there. We're going to CGI them in because they were before. But just thinking, like, when you see like Goblin's upgraded suit and Electro's upgraded suit, and and the fact that they just left Doc Ock alone because don't you freaking touch that. The guy looks perfect.
Yeah, I know. He was perfect.
The guy's like perfect Dr. Octopus. I'm glad they brought him in to be Doc Ock again because I don't think they could have recast that any better.
The fight scene on the bridge was just crazy. I loved it, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm
sure there's a YouTube and MCU. I'm sure there is.
Can we just say as well, like the fight scenes in this, just in general, were just amazing.
They were crazy, man. They were awesome. They were
Sweet
so
spot
brutal,
update.
which I think
A
a
member
lot
of
of
the
those
Comic
films,
Clan
a lot of
has
these
been
films are missing,
promoted
like
to
the
the
brutalness
Star
of them.
Clan.
If two superpower beings are fighting each other, it's gonna be brutal.
Sorry,
You know?
shout out to the Infinity Bros. Thank you for that sub, Infinity Bros. Absolutely appreciate it. I'm something of a subscriber myself. Can I say the fact that they got that meme in there with Norman Osborn as well? I'm something of a scientist myself.
Oh, dude, I know. I talked about this before stream, but they did the Spider-Man pointing meme. Did you see that? So when they were on top of this, they were on top of the Statue of Liberty. And they were trying to figure out.
No
All
worry,
right, you
Cameron.
Spider-Man
You have a
1.
good day, man. Take care. Hope the stream goes well, brother.
Yeah, man. When he was like, "No, I'm Spider-Man 1. You were Spider-Man 2, and you're Spider-Man 3," and they were all pointing at each other. They finally did it. They
actually did it. It's amazing. It was so good. So I do want to talk a little bit more about Doctor Strange, just because he does play a major part in this movie, and one of the end credit scenes is all about him. As the end credit scene was about setting up for Multiverse of Madness. Before we talk about him, though, let's talk about the other cameo in the mid-credit scene.
Let's do it.
Because there's almost like a back and forth that's happening now. Because there was a cameo at the end credit in the mid credit of his movie that was hinting at stuff, and now there's a cameo of Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, who for some reason is in Mexico with Venom, got transported to this world, and apparently he's just been sitting there the whole time talking to this bartender who's been telling him all about the superheroes in this world, and he's just like, I can't tell if he's just like in awe of the fact of all this stuff happening, or just like so drunk it's not sinking in. And then he vanishes at the end because they send them all back home. So
Well, he says we're drunk, and then Tom Hardy stands up and like he starts swaying.
And it's like, and they get. Did you guys mention the Daredevil cameo? Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
Chung. Oh, one of the first things we mentioned. I almost jumped out of my seat when Charlie Cox showed up in this movie. I was so freaking excited. If anyone knows me, I adore Daredevil. So to have him back playing him, I'm like, I'm all good for that. I'm happy. But yeah, like, so he shows up at the end. A little disappointed we didn't get to see actual Venom. It was literally just a Tom Hardy cameo in the Venom voice.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a huge fan
apparently when he goes home, though, he doesn't take the whole suit with him.
Apparently not.
We're not going to ask the logistics of how that works, even though that should have sent the whole suit.
Yeah,
We're not going to ask the logistics of how he left a little bit of the suit behind when he wasn't actually, he didn't have the suit on, like, was showing at the time. But somehow a little bit of Venom stayed behind in Mexico. And are we setting up for the black suit in the fourth Tom Holland
people are
movie?
saying, so ads pointed out that we might be getting an Agent Venom. I've heard that as well. I'm not a huge fan of the guy who plays Flash Thompson.
No,
so
I do not want Agent Venom
don't.
with him.
I hope they don't do that, honestly. I hope they do the black suit, they do the symbiote, and they bring,
Bring in a good
really
Eddie,
like
bring in an Eddie
Brock
Brock of this universe. If we're not going to get Tom Hardy's officially in this universe, let's bring in an Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
But no, 100%, absolutely not. No, do not do Agent Venom because it's meant to be Flash Thompson.
No.
I hate Flash Thompson in these movies. I hate it with a freaking passion. Do not make him Agent Venom. Don't do it, MCU. You will lose money on that one.
Yes. Yeah. He cannot carry it. No way.
Infinity Bros, give me symbiote suit Tom Holland. Like,
yes.
Absolutely. Get us a black suit Tom Holland. Give me him in the symbiote. Set up for a Venom face-off. 100%. I want to see Spider-Man and Venom and not be Topher Grace.
And I want Venom to be the size that he is in his movies. Against Tom Holland size Spider-Man. Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, Venom should look like Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? He should be that sort of
size
of dude.
No
you know what I mean?
It's
like,
no question about
that's
it.
the dude that he should be.
That's why, like, in the comics, that's such a contrast. It's not only just the contrast of the suit, his mouth, and all that stuff, but just the pure size of Venom.
Oh yeah,
like,
people.
How the heck is he gonna beat this?
People don't take into account the fact of like how much he has to outthink Venom because like he outdoes his spider sense. He's bigger, he's stronger, he can move quicker than him, he can outmaneuver him. It's like he can literally outdo him. So Peter has to literally outthink Eddie.
Yeah.
It comes down to the thought process of the man. That's how he beats him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say that guy that plays Flash is horrid. Absolutely.
He is awful.
And please no Chuck. Please no Spider-Man strutting down the street in Spider-Man 4. Yeah, let's not do an emo Peter again. We got emo Peter last time.
Please don't.
No, let's not do it again. But it was interesting seeing his cameo. I wish we got to see him like during the fight. I'd love to have seen Venom come into that even for a little bit. And
there was talk of him maybe being in the movie, which I would not have minded actually.
Question though, him coming through, as part of them all coming through, was literally knowing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Is that linked to the cameo at the end of Let There Be Carnage?
Yeah, so Venom says like we have billions of years of like basically multiversal hive knowledge. So in some universe, Venom knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because like that, either Eddie Brock in that universe or that symbiote has to have that information for him to have come through. Because that's what it was like. He saw Spider-Man and I'm like, was that really just a cheap way to get Venom into the end credit scene? So that they could do the black suit? Because I honestly feel like that's what it was. Because I don't know if you noticed it, like, I saw it, the name at the opening of it, but especially in the end credits, Amy Pascal was all over everything. I don't know what sort of deal they have made, but Sony and Marvel are working tighter than ever on the Spider-Man projects.
Yeah.
Her name was all over this, and I'm like, I don't know.
Funny.
I don't know how
I was reading some interview. Somebody was interviewing Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige at the same time, and they were talking about the end of Andrew Garfield's run, and about how basically Sony reached out and said, can you help us with Amazing Spider-Man 3? And Kevin Feige came in and said, I don't know how to help you, but I will work with you. And that's when they came up with basically just kind of rebooting and starting with Tom. And he said when he basically came to her and said, we're not going to do it Amazing Spider-Man 3. We need to kind of reboot. And apparently she threw a sandwich at him. So like there's definitely a little bit of animosity, but
but to be fair though, he was right.
No, he was right. No question about it.
100%. Like, look where we got because of that. Like,
Yeah. The reason we
But
have this movie is not because of Sony. It's 100% because of Kevin Feige, in my opinion.
oh yeah, absolutely. This was not a Sony thing. Everything about
No.
this was put together by Marvel, like 100%. See, if it was Sony doing another Spider-Man movie, do you really think Tobey and Andrew would have came back? I think they came back because they knew Marvel could do it and do it well.
Yeah.
Not to mention having Disney, bucks in your pocket to give to them isn't a bad thing.
Heck yeah, dude. I want to know how much they paid them to come back for this. It had to have been a crazy amount.
Oh yeah, and I have no doubt it was more than they would ever have had to pay them, but they just did it to secure them.
I actually want to look it up right now.
you know. But I do want to talk though about the other end credit scene, because it's not an end credit scene. It is actually our first trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Which I was not expecting.
Did not expect that, but it is a literal carry on from this. This movie, although he only appears in about half of it, is Doctor Strange 1.5. This is like setting up the status quo for what's going to happen going into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously the setup we talked about was mentioned earlier that Wong's the new Sorcerer Supreme because he's been gone. And because of him pulling this spell and trying all this stuff, things are going crazy. And then he's now looking into the multiverse. Because he obviously mentions it in the movie. It's something we know very little about. But this is an expanding concept thanks to the stuff that's been going on in Disney+. We get to see him literally go and meet Wanda. When Wanda shows up on the screen, I cheered so much. I love Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch. I absolutely adore her. So her being back in this and the two of them working together is great.
She was amazing in the show.
We get glimpses of America Chavez working with them as well, who we knew was going to be in this movie. We get the return of Baron Mordo.
Mm-hmm. With dreads. He looks
not
awesome.
even going to attempt to pronounce the actor's name. I don't think I've ever pronounced it right in my life. He's an amazing actor.
Chiwetel Ejiofor or something like that.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. I'm like, it doesn't matter how many times people tell me that, I never remember it. I'm like, it's one of those names that just always escapes me. But he's a phenomenal actor, so I'm so excited to have him back. I believe
that's how you pronounce it. Sorry. Go ahead.
And the big thing that we reveal in this is that apparently Strange is being hunted because the biggest threat to the multiverse now, they believe, is Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's confirmed, but Doctor
Definitely
Strange
heavily hinted.
has a face-off with someone at the very end of that trailer. Someone who looks like a darker version of himself. Who might even
similar to someone who we may or may not have seen in What If.
Maybe, Doctor Strange Supreme,
possibly,
from the What If series, actually showing up and facing off. Which,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm all for that.
Dude, it's a side note, total side note, but kind of related. Can we give a shout out for leading into the What If series? There's a spot in the movie where the cape goes around Tom Holland.
Yes.
And he looks straight from the What If series.
Yeah, from the Zombies episode, 100%. He looks like Spidey in the cape from that one. It's like, and I love the fact that we're like hinting at the What If series.
Yeah.
But kind of like what there'll be little mentions and hints to it. Possibly that's cool. Like this might be more than a full blown hint.
Okay, because another spot in the trailer, in the Doctor Strange trailer, they show the city dissolving, dissolving up. Just like it did in What If.
Just like with Doctor Strange Supreme. Like, Strange Supreme's world, that's what happened. It all disappeared up because he ended up ending his universe. Yep. So, and that's the question as well then, is like, if Doctor Strange is the biggest threat, are you talking the combination of Doctor Stranges, or is it a specific one? And if it's a specific one, which one? Because Doctor Strange Supreme, like, in the What If series, had a very fulfilling arc. Like when his world was destroyed, he realized what he'd done. He'd been left in his little bubble universe with nothing for all eternity until he got called into the Avengers of the Multiverse and ends up having like freaking the two monstrosities, what's his name, Killmonger, and what's his face is an
Vision.
And the like the Infinity Ultron that's got what's his face for Captain America in the body. Completely forgot his name, the wee dude. But it's got them fighting each other in his bubble, so it's almost like he's. So it's almost like he's.
Not Zemo. What is it?
No, not Zemo. It's like
Zola.
Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's got Arnim Zola. Yeah, I literally, I know the dude's name. I just can't think of it. But yeah, Zola and like the Infinity like Ultron body versus like Killmonger.
Yeah.
So you have that face off with each other, and he's kind of holding that in his little world, and that's his thing. And it's almost like his redemption. He is still a little bit on the nut side, but like he's learnt from it. But the smile he gives, if that is him in the trailer, I don't think it's that version of him.
No.
It's
because like
the nut job version.
Yeah, because Doctor Strange in the What If series, he ends up kind of trying to do the right thing. Like he's not a maniacal, butthole. But in the trailer for this one, he looked like that.
Interesting theory though. Is it that one from the multiverse, or is he going to literally rip off What If and do something that splits himself?
Mm.
And we're going to get a live action reenactment of that fight.
Yeah, maybe.
But like, it got me hyped for Multiverse of Madness because like literally it gave me enough to hype me.
Yeah.
Mostly based on what it didn't show me.
So when do you think that trailer is going to be officially released?
I don't know, actually. I'm assuming they're going to give it time for people to obviously go and see the movie, but I would imagine, like, if not before the end of the year, definitely beginning of January some point, that'll officially drop, because it's like, it's not an end credit, it's a literal trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice Wolf Spider. Wolf Spider saying I bought my friend's PS4 and it has Spider-Man and COD on it.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Not bad. That's a bit of an extra win there. But yeah, it's like, and Doctor Strange in this movie, I loved it. I loved the relationship with him and Peter.
Yeah, it was so cool.
And the way that it developed. Because if you've read the comics, you know they actually do have a good relationship. The two of them are really good friends in the comics. Like Peter and Steven know each other really well.
Yeah.
And also massive shout out as well to the fact of like it's the two Stan Lee and Steve Ditko creations like bouncing off each other. Both of those men deserve to be praised for those characters because they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But just getting to see like Doctor Strange and him interacting throughout the movie and him trying to almost mentor and guide him, then leading to him like setting Peter up to like catch all the villains that have come through from the other universe and give some tech that can bring them straight to the Sanctum with just one shot, so they don't have to worry about that. To then Peter literally turning on him because like he wants to send them home to die, saying it's their fate.
Yeah. Peter wants to try to save them, which leads to the death of Aunt May.
Yeah, it's like he wants to save them, he wants to help them, he wants to make it better. Which can we shout out to that scene, by the way, when they go in the mirror universe.
Dude, that's so sweet.
That scene is insane. It's like all the visuals from Doctor Strange that brought back again, they made it just as good.
Dude, and he puts him in a loop. He puts Doctor Strange in a loop, and he said, "I've been falling for what did he say? I've been in the mirror dimension for 12 hours."
Yeah, like I've been hanging over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours because he ties him up. Right. Because in the mirror dimension, he realizes where he is. He realizes he can actually use geometry to stop him. It's like, I love that line. Do you know what's cooler than magic? Maths.
I love the fact how smart he is, though, because like I don't feel like they do that enough. Like he's a crazy intelligent kid, He made his own web fluid.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. It's like Peter's like even as a teenager and going into his 20s, like he was still really intelligent.
Yeah,
may not been quite full genius level yet, but yeah, it was close. But yeah, so man. Like massive shout out to that, and then massive shout out to Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland.
Yes.
In that final scene where he's holding the spell back, and Tom Holland Spider-Man decides make them all forget me. The emotion from both of them in that scene, they put the weight of everything that those characters were feeling on display, and it was so good.
Like you could tell that it hurt Doctor Strange to do it,
Like he did not want to do it, but he also knew there was no other way.
Yeah.
And also that kind of love and respect that he had for Peter, that Peter was willing to do that to save everyone.
Yeah.
It's like willing to hold off everyone by letting them forget, so the spell was cancelled out.
Yeah.
And I hope we see him going to Doctor Strange soon. I hope it doesn't take long for him to go and for memories to come back and stuff, because those interactions are amazing. But
Yeah, there's no way that he's not going to remember who Spider-Man is somehow. I don't know how that's going to work, but there's got to be a way.
yeah, because like he's got to at least remember Spider-Man. Because like they
Yeah.
saved the world together, they defeated Thanos together. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much stuff based around that. Like that can't be totally wiped out, even if they don't know it's Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's the thing I'm interested to see is like I don't know. It's set up a brand new world going forward in the MCU itself, let alone in the next Spider-Man movie. And that's the thing is like we don't quite know what the details of that are yet. We don't quite know how that's going to look.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. And with so many shows and so many movies set for release next year, like we're not going to have to wait long for it. Like this was a hell of a way to end 2021 for Marvel.
That was awesome. This week has been incredible. We got the Hawkeye reveal, spoilers.
Yep, and then we've got the last episode of Hawkeye, like this Wednesday comes out, the final episode of the season.
Kingpin better be in full force. That's all I gotta say.
Well, we're going to hopefully see Kingpin fully out there. I'm like, that's going to be like the wrapping of Marvel, and I'm like, dang, they gave us this. And just think about this. This is after having a year off with the COVID and the quarantine and everything, and then came back and hit hard in 2021.
Can we say the fact that Marvel has crushed it during the pandemic, especially with this movie? They broke records with this movie during a freaking pandemic.
Just the amount of stuff they brought out this year, and it's all been pretty much top quality stuff. Like,
yeah,
they brought out 4 movies this year: Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as multiple TV series: WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye.
Can I say most of the movies outside of Black Widow, because that was not that great of a movie in my opinion, were bangers. Like I thought Eternals was awesome, Shang-Chi was awesome, Spider-Man, one of the best movies, the comic book movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean they've done amazing. Like the films and the shows have pretty much all been on point.
Yeah. So we got Doctor Strange next year in May. We got Thor: Love and Thunder in July. We got Black Panther in November. We got the Marvels the following year. We're gonna eat good this year. Next year, rather.
Yeah. This has been a really good. It's been, you know, I say it usually it's a good week to be a geek, and this has been a really good year to be a geek.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that we've gotten, we have been spoiled this year, and it has been so good. Like I'm glad we got this show to come on and talk about this stuff. I really am. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's funny because like some of my friends don't really care about comic book or comic book movies, so you're my only friend that really kind of does.
I don't get this though. Like all these people that aren't geeks and aren't into all this stuff, they're like, what did you get excited about this week? What have you been doing with your life? Like, the whole world's talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. What are you doing?
I got to talk about, like, when I came home from the movie, it was like 11:30. I was like, I got to talk about this with somebody. So I just posted like 400 tweets in a row. I'm like, dude, I got to talk about this. But this movie was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And I'm gonna buy it like 4 times. I cannot wait.
If you've not seen this movie and for some reason you're sitting through our spoiler cast, why would you do that? I don't know. But if for some reason you haven't seen this movie, and even if you know these spoilers now, go and see it for yourself.
Yeah, because like
the way
that I think about it is like, you know, we as comic book movie fans, we will watch anything. Mm-hmm. We will watch anything, if not just to support the medium, right?
Oh yeah, I've watched some awful stuff. Yeah,
even the bad DC movies. We want to support the medium. We're going to support it, and oftentimes we'll buy it, even if we think it's not that great of a movie. We'll buy it to support the medium. At least that's what I do. But this was a movie that when you watch it, you actually like you were invested in it, like you enjoyed it. It was something that I would watch over and over and over. Sometimes rewatchability is really low in comic book movies. This is not the case for this one, I don't think.
Absolutely. I think this one's going to be a fun one to watch. I think it's going to be one to go back and watch and see the Easter eggs and to catch all the stuff in it. Mm-hmm. And also just one just to enjoy. Like I can sit down and enjoy this movie. There is so much. As a fan of comic book movies since they initially started, like from watching Blade when it first came out in the 90s to the X-Men movies in 2000 to the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire when it came out in 2002.
Yeah.
I've grown up with comic book movies.
It's the same, yeah.
And this felt like a feast to sit and enjoy. I love Spider-Man. I love his story. I think it's so easy for people to get him wrong if they don't do the right stuff with him. And I feel like this was an amazing finale for all three Spider-Men. Like, they could literally stop Tom Holland doing this, and I know he's like talked about it and stuff, but Spider-Man 4's happening, so
yeah,
you can shut up.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, because Kevin Feige's like, you ain't going anywhere. What are you talking about of leaving Spider-Man?
Oh, a special shout out to there's a conversation between Jamie Foxx's Electro and somebody else. I think it's Andrew Garfield, but he's like, they're talking about. He said, "I thought you were black," and he's like,
"Yeah,
Spider-Man somewhere," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, we get it."
I love that shit.
Because like
you're in Queens, you're doing all this stuff, you're helping out all these low neighborhood kids and doing all this. I thought you'd be black. And I love, you know what? I love them for no reason. And he goes, "I'm sorry, dude." I'm like, "Why are you apologizing for being white?" It's like, it's not like you can control that.
Oh, that was really cool, and that was a cool nod to Miles, the second one.
That was a massive nod. We didn't get to see Miles, which was one of my predictions that we would see.
He will be in the next movie. I will bet money that he'll be in.
But he's already been hinted at. He's been mentioned. I think it was in Homecoming. He got mentioned.
He's been mentioned twice. We met his uncle.
His uncle, but I think he's specifically been mentioned as well. So one of the things that could be coming up in the next Spider-Man movies could be, they've talked about doing another trilogy with Tom Holland. I think we could be seeing the black suit, but I think we could also be seeing the transition of Miles coming in, possibly.
I'm totally cool with that.
If Tom's looking to actually step away, which, to be fair, this is his third Spider-Man movie. He's done the same amount as Tobey Maguire now. He's also done multiple other movies. If you count Captain America Civil War, if you count Avengers Infinity War, you count Avengers Endgame. He's now done, 6 movies as Spider-Man, more than the other two combined.
Yeah.
Including, well, about the same as the other two combined, then his cameo for Civil War, where it was basically a scene. Right. So it's like, I don't, maybe not count that one, but like, he did appear for quite a chunk of it, so, you know, take it or leave it. But like, yeah, he's been doing this character for a while. He's been playing Spider-Man since 2016 and has already played him in 6 movies. I think that's literally once a year.
Yeah, I think it's time
he has played. And it's like, so if he is ready to step away, which I don't blame him. Like, one of the trailers that was on before it was Uncharted, which is starring Tom Holland, and he looks awesome in it. Like, it looks like an amazing movie. Sweet. It looks really good. He looks phenomenal in it. And I'm like, and I don't blame him. The kid's in his 20s. He's a young guy, and like, if he's got the hype of Spider-Man, I'm like, he doesn't want to do that until he's 40 or 50. Of course he wants to expand his wings. Of course he wants to go and try other stuff as well. You know, it's not like the guy like that's playing him, like, I'll play, you know. It's not like something like Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark.
He's basically playing himself.
Whereas, like, you're basically playing yourself, but he's also like Tony Stark, you know, like Robert Downey Jr.'s like later on in life, he's like in his 50s. Yeah. Like, I'll play it as often as you want me to until you're done with me, and he did it right up until Endgame. Yep. It's like, it's not like that situation. Like, he's a young kid, and I'm like, to the point of like he was talking about leaving it, there was almost that thought of like, is he going to die? Are they going to kill him off in this one? Is that going to be like the big finale to it?
I thought they might do that, man.
But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad we're going forward with more stories, because I do like his Spider-Man. I do like the path that he's went on in his journey. I've not always been a fan of the supporting characters, but even then, I feel like there's been growth.
Yeah.
I could not stand Zendaya's version of MJ. I still hate that it's Michelle Jones.
Agreed.
And not Mary Jane. But this was I loved her in this. I thought she was really well. I thought the character was done really well. I think the progression. Ned's been amazing.
Agreed.
Ned's been phenomenal.
I think Zendaya makes more sense when we're talking multiversal Spider-Man. I think it makes more sense.
Yeah, now that we're talking,
I'm okay with it.
Now that we're talking multiversal, yeah, there is that Mary Jane, and there was Gwen Stacy, and now there's you know, there was even that just reminds me of that cute moment of like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man talking in the lab.
Dude, he's trying to encourage him.
And they see like the two of them kissing and being close with each other, and it's like, and he asks him like, have you got anyone? Like Tobey asks Andrew, and he says, nah, not really. And obviously kind of hinting at the stuff with Gwen. He's like, I don't know if it's in, you know. He says, what about you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know, me and MJ better work some stuff out. And he looks at him a bit and like, well, not that MJ, you know, my MJ. This is going to get really confusing. But he does encourage him during that as well. And he's like, because he says, maybe it's just something that's not in the cards for guys like us. He said, don't say that, you know. Yeah. There's always a possibility. There's always a chance. You never know. And just Tobey Maguire in this, man.
Dude, it's so good.
He was like my favourite Spider-Man, and he just solidified. This is what I needed, was an older sage Spider-Man to just give wisdom to the younger dudes. And I'm like, he came in and did what he had to. Like, Toby, you're always amazing.
I know we're towards the end of the stream, but there was one more cool part. Cause the more I think about this movie, the more I remember just really cool like nuggets.
That's that's what happened. There was like we never talked about that. I remember that bit.
So when they're all in the lab, they're making the serums for all the villains, and Ned goes, Peter, and all of them turn around and go, yeah, and then he goes, no, Spider-Man, and they're like,
that's all of us.
Tom's like, we're all Spider-Man.
Peter Parker.
And he goes, no, Peter Parker, and he goes, we're all Peter Parker.
Same problem, Ned.
The real Spider-Man, or the real Peter Parker. That was hilarious.
I love it. That was amazing. Hey, give me the challenge. How is it going, my friend?
What's up?
We are actually just going to be wrapping up our stream shortly, but yeah, No Way Home was phenomenal. We've not even been doing a review of it. We've literally been talking about some of our favourite moments from it, some of the awesome stuff that has been taking place during this movie, and it's just it's such a good high to end the year on. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
It was just such a great way to end the year, and just to end it on a good note and a good feeling.
Again, I think this will go down. I've still got to think about it, but Endgame for me had the -- spot, my favorite comic book movie of all time. I think this dethroned it, for real. This is that good. This movie is so good. There's nothing wasted in the movie. No callbacks, no cameos.
Do you know what the thing is?
Except maybe Lizard and Sandman. That's the only gripe.
They're probably the only wasted things. Do you know what the thing is though? Like, and not to say that it didn't, and I'm trying to think of my words for this well here. Endgame had really strong emotional points, like Tony Stark dies, I was in tears with everyone else, I was in shock and awe when Steve picks up Mjolnir. Yeah. We've talked about all that sort of stuff. I did not feel as emotionally invested in that in the same way that I did with this.
Agreed.
And I felt emotionally invested with the Endgame. It was the end of this journey, and it's still one of the most hyped moments. I didn't feel sitting in the cinema the same way I did feeling with Endgame. Endgame was a scenario in itself. Everyone was there. Everyone was hyped. Everyone's been waiting a year for this finale, and we were all electric and charged and ready for this.
I still remember when you and I went, and again, I may or may not have yelled an expletive out when Captain America picked up Mjolnir.
I was sitting next to you.
It was definitely a different vibe.
I was sitting next to you. You definitely shouted it.
Oh man, it was worth it. It was worth it.
That was it. That was a literal visceral reaction. It just came out. It was like, but with this, it was more of an inward experience. I feel.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily about the collective and sitting there together with everyone. It hit hard and it hit emotionally, and it was just so. Oh, it was so good, and getting to see Toby and Andrew get their just desserts and getting the finales that they deserved, getting to see great finales for so many great villains and so many great actors like Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina, and getting to see them tie up their stories, and Jamie Foxx and
I feel like this is a culmination of because we've reviewed all those films, you and I have.
Yeah, we've talked about them in the show. Yeah,
we've talked about the good and the bad, and I feel like this movie addressed a lot of what we talked about, and a lot of maybe the issues that we had with those films. I think this movie.
Well, I think that's the thing as well. People forget Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. We talk about the notes that those ended on. They were never meant to be finales.
Yeah.
There was a Spider-Man 4 and there was an Amazing Spider-Man 3 in the works, and they were starting to plan and prepare. So Toby and Andrew never got their finales. This was their finale.
Yeah, and it was perfect, man.
And it was the end of a chapter for Tom Holland's Spider-Man and the opening of a new chapter. It was all spot on, and even just the little stuff of the throw to all the characters, the bringing back in of Charlie Cox for Daredevil, every little thing they did was just so well done. And I'm like,
I was watching a comic book.
Gave me the challenge saying it finally felt like Tom Holland was a real Peter Parker Spider-Man when he just gave everything up and started from nothing. Absolutely, I think I was saying that earlier on. That was probably the most Peter Parker thing that any of them have ever done. Doing something for the greater good above everything else like that. And Tom Holland really came into his own in this one. It has really been a growth of Peter Parker, absolutely, through these 3 movies, and he's done amazing. So
If you haven't seen this movie, like, what are you doing with your life?
go see it.
You need to go see it immediately.
Go see it now. You're
Immediately.
finished.
And
We're
why
done.
have you watched this whole time?
Yeah,
If you
we're
haven't
done.
seen it?
We're getting ready to wrap up. You have no reason to stay. Go watch this movie.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you do have a reason to stay. Cutting segue.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Good segue.
Cutting segue. You have a reason to stay if you're a sub to the channel. Because we are going to be doing a giveaway. Let me see if I can. I don't even have the picture. This is how unprepared I am. So thank you, COVID. Like I don't even have I don't even have the picture up or anything like that. So let me. I'm going to create a new scene. Give me a sec. I should have done all this before stream, but like literally, COVID has done nothing but kick me around for the day.
Yeah, speaking of, Mr. Cross over here has COVID probably, and he's been doing this stream for 2 hours, so huge kudos. Thanks, dude.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem. I wasn't going to miss this. I wasn't going to miss talking about this and wrapping up our year with.
Yeah.
So I apologize. It's a black screen on here just now. There we go. So I wanted to get the image up of this because this is an amazing image. This cover art's phenomenal for this. Right, you all see that okay?
Yep.
So we are doing a giveaway today for Dominion Fall of the House of Saul Volume 1 for Terminus Media. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, you've seen us talking with Dr. Baron Bell, you've seen us doing panels with Terminus Media over the last couple of months as well, talking to amazing creators, and we actually have a copy of Dominion Fall of the House of Saul Volume 1, which has just been released this month on Amazon and on the Terminus website for giveaway as a special gift to one of our members of the Comic Clan, and it will be signed by Dr. Bell and I believe Daniel Hancock as well, who is the co-writer on it. So Dr. Bell the creator and Daniel Hancock the co-writer on it. So we're going to give this away to one of our subs. So if you are not sub to the channel and want to be in with a chance of winning this, then this is your opportunity to go ahead, drop a sub. You can do that through as low as $4.99 for the lowest tier sub, or you can do that as with your Amazon Prime, and then it's nothing. So we're going to be giving that away to our subs as a thank you. And oh, where did we go? There we are. We disappeared. We were gone for some reason.
They don't need to see us.
So we are going to be doing the giveaway for one of our subs. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning this, it's a chance to sub to the channel, and it's also as a thank you to our subs for everyone who's been financially supporting us. 100% thank you for the financial love and support that you have given this channel. Right before I pull this draw and to give anyone a chance to jump in if they want to, this is our last podcast, not only for 2021, but for the next few weeks, the next month.
Next month.
So we are going to be back actually in February. So let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I believe 7 weeks we are not going to be here with a podcast. So we're going to be back on February 6th, the first February, the first Sunday in February. We'll be back with the podcast. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, a lot of work on the channel, a lot of stuff to help get stuff better for you guys and to try and make it a better experience for all of you. But like every year I like to try and upgrade Comics to the Cross and get us to a newer level and newer heights, and I feel like everything that we've got in the works right now like is close to that.
Yeah.
So absolutely, we are so excited for this, so excited for everything that's coming your way. My lovely wife Jay, as long as she is feeling well enough, will be streaming Bioshock 2 tomorrow, so stay up with her social medias for that. She has COVID as well, so she may still be feeling sick from it and reeling from it. She's been reeling for a couple of days. But she's going to try and do Bioshock 2 tomorrow. I am not going to be back this week. I finished Batman Arkham Asylum last Tuesday. So I'm not going to be back on Tuesday morning. I'm going to leave it. And Nitro, I don't know if you were going to be doing Tuesday. Are you going to be working in anything?
I don't know. I probably will not be streaming on Tuesday night, but I'll keep everybody posted. Just because I got family coming in this week, and I got to wrap up some stuff for Christmas. So, but I'll keep everybody posted.
No worries. Almost done. Okay. But yeah, I wasn't sure if you were doing something, so I wanted to just check with that. So yeah, so chances are tomorrow night, if my wife streams, it's going to be the last stream of the year for us. So make sure you come in with and hang out with her as she tries to finish up Bioshock 2. If not, we're probably going to be done until the beginning of February. and February 6th will be our first one as we kick off back with the podcast. But thank you for everyone who's followed us this year, for everyone who's subbed to us, everyone who's supported us, everyone who's came in, hung out, chatted, lurked, everything that you've done, raided, hosted us, everything. Followed us on social media, joined our Discord, like, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel, everything that you guys have done this year to support us.
Yeah, it really means a lot, for real.
It's amazing. Like, we are like, what, 40 something followers away from 600 followers on Twitch. Crazy. Which is like mind-blowing. Like, we celebrated 500 followers this year, and that was a mind-blowing experience. That was one of our first big milestones we had.
I remember when we were trying to shoot for 100.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Oh, thank you, GC. I appreciate that, brother. Saying you all are amazing peoples. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're amazing peoples.
You're amazing peoples. So let me go ahead and go back to this Dominion screen. I'm actually going to see if I can pull the wheel up on here.
Currently booking tickets for my second viewing. Not really.
Are you kidding? You totally are. Alright, we got that up on the screen. Alright, so we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to see who has won this copy of Dominion Fall of the House of Saul. This was your last chance. There's no more additions to it, so the people we've got on there are our possible winners. Let's do it.
Do this.
And the winner is Wolf Spider.
What?
Our good friend, massive supporter of the channel, has given us so many bits, so many gifted subs over the years, like 100%. Thank you so much, Wolf Spider, for all the support and love that you've given us, brother.
Yes.
So you are the winner of Dominion Fall of the House of Saul Volume 1 that will be signed by Dr. Bell and Daniel, and I will reach out to you to get mailing details to pass on to them, and they'll be sending it out from them directly. Because we don't have the copies yet. They have all the copies. When I say it's gone on sale, like, they literally have just gotten them this month. So it'll be coming directly from them. So you don't have to worry about too many hands touching it. They've got it all. But thank you so much to everyone who supported us, who has followed us, who has done all these amazing things with our channel. Like, I honestly can't praise this year enough, and the amazing community we've got, and the amazing year you've given us. Like, it was so funny. Like, I was going back looking at like our first like opening video that I made and stuff, and looking at some of the stuff, and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy to look.
Remember our first stream? We had just so many technical issues.
We had so many technical issues that I literally was sitting with you on speakerphone on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Like here, just holding you.
Putting it on the mic.
So that people could hear you on the mic. Like it was insane.
Yeah. We've come a long way, and we really appreciate everything you guys have done for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone who's been with us, who's shown us love and support. So I think we're actually going to go over and raid One Geek 411. It's been a little while since we've raided them. Cameron was in showing us some love, so I want to go and show them some love as well. They're good friends of ours. So if you're not following them and don't know them, not hanging out with them yet, go and show Cameron some love. Go and spread the Christmas cheer with him. He is playing The Last of Us right now. And we will see you all in the new year. You are burdened with a glorious raid. It's a good week to share the love. I like that raid command. I think that works. I made a new raid command. It's like, yeah, I think that's a good raid command.
Yeah.
We were desperately needing one, to be fair.
Right.
But yeah, we are going to go and show them love. Make sure you hang on with our social medias so that you can keep up to date when we're going live. If Nitro does go live on Tuesday, let's be honest, probably not if he's got family coming into town, but to keep up to date with my wife, because she really wants to finish Bioshock before the end of the year. So keep up to date with that. Oh, it's just social, dude.
Yep, I knew that. No, I didn't.
But thank you so much for everyone hanging out. There is one thing I was going to say to you, Nitro. I wasn't sure if you wanted to show, because I've been doing some work behind the scenes. I've been working on a new trailer.
Oh yeah, dude, I haven't seen it. I know you sent me an email, but I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
Do you think I should share it with the people that are here?
Do it, man. Do it.
This isn't a complete. This is a first draft, so we don't have a lot of changes to it. I'm still going to be editing the volume and everything like that, but I rendered it because when you put so many videos together in our like thing, it starts to freak out. And you have it. Let Nitro finish up watching it on the stream.
Dude, that's awesome. Sorry, yeah, it's a little bit of a delay, dude. That's sick. I love it.
But yeah, that's a new one, so I'll try to get some good clips in there. Obviously adding Jay in there and stuff like that, so that's a little hint of the new video. It still needs to be worked on a little bit, still a bit to do on it, but it's a first draft. I think it's looking pretty good.
That's awesome. Got a lot of really cool clips in there.
Alright, but
The
everyone...
dumpling one, I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I had to include that. When I found that clip again, I was like, yeah, that has to go in.
Oh man.
But thank you so much to everyone. I'm going to have to head off. I think my wife is now struggling with the kids, so I need to go and save her. But thank you for everyone for supporting us this year, and we will see you all in February. We'll still be hanging out on Twitch. We'll still be on social media, so you'll still be able to connect with us. But we will see you all in the new year. Take care, and remember, it has been a fantastic year to be a geek. Take care, everyone.
Go see No Way Home.
Zero miedo. Zero miedo.